Oh no! Panther people, what up? We're going to dissect the Panthers losing in kind of the most uninspiring fashion I've ever seen in my life in New York against the Giants. Again! Going on, you're watching Panthers Post with Phil Perkins. Thanks for joining. If you're new here, welcome. It is a super happy place to be. Nothing's on fire around me. Everything is totally cool. It is super not stressful and depressing being a Carolina Panthers fan. Panthers lose a close one again, but this one felt more uninspiring than the other one. They lose to the Giants in New Jersey, 19-16. They are 0-2. Matt Rhule has lost 9 straight games. Julian Council, who we mentioned last episode, love that guy. He was on this show, one of the earlier shows here, and, he shows us love. I didn't pay him. He still did it. So, in my books, he is a superhuman being. The fact that he talks about the Panthers every day and hasn't gone great, I would know that. He's got a shaved head. But here's a tweet that he put out there, and it speaks volumes. So, he said this 20 minutes ago. 9 straight losses for Matt Rhule. I already mentioned that. 10-25 over 2 years and 2 games. 1-25. One win under Rhule when allowing just 17 plus points. You can't overcome 17 points. Led in 17 of the last 19 games. 5-12 in those games. There's no closure with this team. None. There's always something. There's always some kind of disciplinary thing. They weren't prepared. They just weren't ready for the task at hand. And then someone followed that. Someone followed that tweet. They asked him, is the Fire Rule crowd overreacting? Council then replied, y'all are going to get your wish. What did I say in the last episode? You cannot lose this game. You cannot lose this game. Why? Just look at the schedule coming up. So Josh Klein from the Riot Report was on with Julian Council on Locked On Panthers podcast, and he said that if the Panthers don't go 3-2 in the first 5 games of the season, it's rough. And this is why. Now, I think you go 0-2, you can his ass, and you leave him in New York, where he was a volunteer or a assistant offensive line coach. Because after this game, it's Saints in Charlotte, Arizona at Charlotte. 2 winnable games right now. At last check, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are beating the New Orleans Saints right now. And then you got 3 straight home games. You have to win 3 of them. 3. According to Josh Klein, this is what he's thinking. You got New Orleans and Carolina, Arizona at Carolina, San Francisco at Carolina with Trey Lance, who's kind of still trying to figure it out. He hasn't played football since high school. Like in 3 years, honestly. And then after that, though, if you somehow go over on all those 3, it's not getting any easier, folks. You go to Los Angeles, you take on the Rams. Then you got Tom Brady and his skinny-ass face coming to Charlotte. Then you go to Atlanta. That should be a win. And then you go to Cincinnati, appendicitis Joe Burrow. And then you got Atlanta. Then you got Baltimore, who last time I checked, they were tied at 35 apiece, and Lamar Jackson had like 8 touchdowns on his own. Then you go to Denver, comes out here, bye week. Then you go to Seattle. Then Pittsburgh comes over with Mitch Trubisky. I'm so fired up. Then you got Detroit, who just destroyed Ron Rivera and the Washington Commanders. And then you go to Tampa, and then you go to New Orleans. Just after that, like you go 0 for 5 somehow, and this motherfucker still's got a job. Then you go to LA, and then Tampa comes to home, and then you go to Atlanta, and then you go to Cincinnati. These are the games you were supposed to win. So you went up, you had a chance to go 2-0 against Jacoby Brissett, who just lost to the Jets, led by Joe Flacco, who wouldn't F your mom's friend, who he might, they're probably of age. And then you went up against Daniel Jones, who then ran for, I think it was 11 yards to end that game, which you just saw the video there. You had an opportunity against 2 subpar quarterbacks who careers are, well, he's not a career on the line with Jacoby Brissett. He's a career backup. But you got Daniel Jones, whose tenure in New York is in jeopardy this year with the new head coach and Brian Daboll. You had an opportunity to go 2-0. You're now 0 for 2, losing by a field goal each. One was more painful than the other than yesterday. Today was another story. I'm going to talk about that. And then you go up against Jameis Winston, who is not the long-term answer for the Saints anyways. Something about this game that was There's a reason why I'm wearing the Christian McCaffrey jersey. In my mind, I was like, all right, I'm going to wear the jerseys that they wore because I got all 3 colors. But I'm wearing Christian McCaffrey because he's had his first 100-yard game since 2019. So shout out to him. He is the offense. He is the offense. I love DJ Moore. I love him. But he's not a game changer. I know he's Mr. Underrated, Mr. 1200, despite who the quarterback is, but he's just not a game changer. He's not a game changer, at least right now. He's not like a Tyreek Hill that could just, blow open a game, kind of like he did right now with the Miami Dolphins. Let's see if the Miami Dolphins even won. Who cares? It's not a Miami Dolphins show. But Christian McCaffrey's the guy. He looks so comfortable. The game looks so slow and easy to him in the run game. He wasn't really much of a factor in the passing game, unfortunately. But he looked great. He looked absolutely great. He had one run where I thought maybe Christian McCaffrey 2 years ago could have broke that to the house. But that was the brightest spot for me. That was the brightest spot for me. And the fact that they also started the game with a run to Christian McCaffrey. I think it was for 5 yards. And that's all I wanted. Way easier to go 2nd and 5 than 2nd and 10. The wide receivers kind of let Baker down at times. I know DJ did score a touchdown. But, you had Shi Smith who had the ball touched both hands, couldn't make it. You had Robbie Anderson who fumbled the ball. And Baker Mayfield just didn't really inspire me that much, to be honest with you. Baker Mayfield, 14 for 29, 145 yards, 1 touchdown. Deontay Foreman, who I wish we saw more of. But anyway, Baker Mayfield just, the amount of times that he had guys open. He had Shi Smith open on the seam at one point. He had Christian McCaffrey who had to make a crazy ass. If he made that catch, it'd be a crazy ass catch. But there were just multiple times when Baker had guys open and he just couldn't hit it, unfortunately. Baker did show his athleticism at times. Rushing for a couple first downs, being smart, very elusive in the pocket. But when it comes to when he was rushing, sometimes the offensive line just could not protect him at one point. Ike Ekwonu, still the growing pains. They're going to happen. Rookie left tackle, it's going to happen. Evan Neal had to go against Brian Burns today. But he had some time where he had to really make a quick decision because there's not a lot of pass protection. And the thing is, the New York Giants were missing their 2 pass rushers in Ojulari and Kayvon Thibodeau. And they still couldn't handle the Giants' pressure. Ike Ekwonu, the sack that kind of put the Panthers way back. They were forcing the punt, and it could have been a game-winning drive, game-tying drive potentially. Ike just went a little bit too far outside, and then the rushing safety or whoever it was cut inside, boom, clear hit to Baker Mayfield. But Baker he just couldn't make the plays, and I've said this before, you got to give the ball to Christian McCaffrey to take the pressure off Baker Mayfield. But when the pressure is on Baker, because you have to, it's a game potentially winning drive, and he just couldn't make it happen. There are certain moments where the offense just kind of fell flat. The series that ended up in a touchdown was their best series, and really that was it. Everything else, just whether it was penalties or an overthrow or a missed throw, it just didn't connect with Baker in that side. I will say, though, the center-quarterback connection seems a lot better. No fumbles there, no fumble snaps, no fumble handoffs between the center and the quarterback. So as he said, leading up to this game, he's going to fix those things, and he did. But Baker's just not on the mark passing-wise. As you see, 14 for 29, so just about 50%. He had about 58% passer rating or passer accuracy against the Wink Martindale defense I mentioned before in the last episode, which no one watched because no one cares. I don't blame you. But not very inspiring on offense. Shi Smith was kind of like a almost player. He's almost going to make that catch. He had one when he could have been in the red zone. He would have gone absolutely blown up in the first half, but I think he would have stood up anyways. But he's almost could have caught that. Almost a great player. Almost a good player. Just beats the guy, gets in both hands, almost makes the catch. So hopefully Shi Smith puts that all together. I know he is, just a second-year player, was injured last year. I think he'll grow into that. Terrace Marshall, why is he on this team? What's going on? I always find that, and I agree with Daniel Jeremiah, you always need kind of like a basketball team in your wide receiver room. So you got your center, who should be Terrace Marshall. It's not there. And then you got your point guard and DJ Moore in that stature. He's good, but he's not going to take over a game. He's just not. And then you got Robbie Anderson, who... he's your shooting guard, or he's your three-point specialist, but he's a burner. That's kind of his thing, but he's not burning anybody. So that's unfortunate. So yeah, the offense was kind of nowhere to be seen, and that's something. It's funny, they kind of flipped the script from last week. Last week it was the defense that kind of lost the game for the Panthers, 217 yards rushing on them. But then at this point, Saquon Barkley, who everyone was S-ing his D. ESPN did this whole thing about Saquon. Of course, he plays for the New York Giants. Less than 80 yards rushing, 72 yards rushing, 16 yards receiving. So they shut the run down, the defense. They heard the noise. Frankie Louvu was all over the gosh darn place. How many tackles did Frankie Louvu have? Frankie Louvu, 10 tackles. Would have had an interception to end the first half. Maybe could have run it back. He had a lot of green space behind him. But the defense definitely heard the noise. Derek Brown definitely heard the noise. 4 tackles, 3 assists. Brian Burns, 2 sacks today. Like, he was great. He was doing a good thing against Evan Neal, the rookie out of Alabama. But the defense definitely did their part. They did their part. This was a field goal type of game. This was a Graham Gano game. But the offense just couldn't take advantage of the closeness of this game. And whether that's on Ben McAdoo's offense, personally, I think it's on Baker, because when it comes to players like Christian McCaffrey, in terms of rushes, he had 15 rushes today. 15 rushes, 4 catches, so about around 20 touches or so. That's what you want. And then Derek Foreman, only 2 rushes. 2 rushes for Derek Foreman. Deontay Foreman, sorry. He basically is Derek Foreman because he was for the Titans because Derrick Henry went out. Anyways. So I don't know if it's on Ben McAdoo or if it's on Baker. Just on those passes, you just have to connect on those passes. I know he's on a new team, but now it's been several months now, and so it's unfortunate. And there's going to be a fall guy. I think there should be a fall guy after this game. You cannot afford to lose the next 3 games. Any of those next 3 games, they're all at home. You should win. Who's going to be the head? Like if they fire, let me see. I'm just going to double check. Is Matt Rhule fired? So I'm just reading Joe Person's, live tweeting right now. Matt Rhule's talking. Matt Rhule said for the second week in a row, third down was not our friend. They're 2 for 17 on third down. No good. Matt Rhule playing different guys such as Higgins. We don't need to change. We just need to battle through. I mean, all right. Now I'm just seeing Adam Schefter say Trey Lance is being carted off. I don't know if that was a run play or not. Joe Person pointing out Panthers defense hasn't had a takeaway. Speaking of that, Chuba Hubbard, my Canadian. First football anything in this game. Why did I know he was going to fumble that ball? I said he was going to gain some weight. He looks like he may have gained some weight, but there's just his ball. He's just like afraid of the ball. Like, I don't know. It looks like that. I don't know if he is. I'm not going to question his psyche, but can't catch the ball. Can't hold on to the ball. Made a great move. He was, you can't blame him for trying to get extra yardage on that kickoff return, trying to put the offense in the best position to succeed. Can't catch the ball. Fumbles the ball on kickoff return. And then fumbles it again later on in the game, but then it was down by contact, so it doesn't matter. These are all cuttable offenses, Chuba. You're killing me. So, yeah. If Matt Rhule's still on this team, this is the longest losing streak in the NFL right now. 9 straight games. And if they were like balling out, kind of like how the Miami Dolphins and the Baltimore Ravens are right now, if they were going toe-to-toe, heavyweight fight, bang, 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 bang. This is a rookie head coach, by the way. Rookie head coach in the NFL going toe-to-toe with a perennial playoff team in the Baltimore Ravens. There's no fire. There's no fire with this offense. The defense is hot and cold, as we saw in last week and this week. You got to say this team face. They're becoming a national joke. Tepper, step up. Let this guy go. Let his defensive coordinator go. Let Steve Wilkes be the interim head coach. Give him a second chance to be the head coach of this team again. Arizona Cardinals jobbed him. Let Steve Wilkes be the head coach. He's been working on that since he got to the bank this year. Let him be the head coach. Figure it out. And then start putting feelers out. And that first feeler should be to Kansas City. Eric Bieniemy, offensive-minded coach. Let's make that happen. Why is it that last year my Giants reaction vlog was me being all pissed off, and now history repeats itself? I don't know. It's rough. It's just tough to watch. It's a boring watch. At least be fun. You're not fun. You're not fun to watch. And it's really sad because you got guys like Christian McCaffrey and DJ Moore and Brian Burns. Long term, if there's another new head coach, which is what many of us want, that's a whole other series of events for them that do they want to be a part of that. All right, I'm going to go watch some college highlights. Appreciate you guys. Panthers 0-2. Going back home, 3 straight games. You got to win them all. If this coach is still employed, you got to win all 3 games. Got to win all 3 games. Let me know how you guys feel. Comments below. See you later.